I want to hear, Miracle, since you finished it at the same time as me, what your thoughts were on Dexter New Blood.
Okay, I'll tell you this. So Dexter has a son named Harrison. Low-key, I don't hate him.
It does seem like most of the negative reviews early on had to do with people really hating the kid who played Harrison.
How do you feel, Hannah Claire, about the kid?
She saw a couple of episodes.
I'm gonna love with you. I've seen most of the original series, and I have seen the last two of the reboot. Very good at pop culture. I don't know what he was like in the beginning, and sometimes, from what I understand, he's like a troubled youth. Sometimes those characters can seem really dry or sort of like not interesting. I was really interested in him at the end, especially I really only saw him interacting with Dexter, and I think that relationship is fascinating. I will catch up, and then I want to see the next season.
Yep. I don't know if they're going to be able to make a next season. I personally do not believe that actor has the charisma to pull off.
I had theory for this. I said maybe they might have a copycat Dexter. That's my theory. And Harrison's supposed to...
Spoiler. We're going to do spoiler alerts. I know Chris hates it when I give spoiler alerts, but if you are going to watch it, so be careful.
Does something like, when you guys do spoilers, does something like flash on the screen right now?
No, sadly we don't.
We haven't relieved any.
We should do a timestamp. Like, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, skip to this.
Yeah. So we're just gonna go through it. The actor was fine. I just don't think he's good enough to pull off a show on his own. But I don't think he's kind of like Deb. Everybody hates. I
didn't hate her.
I don't hate her. I didn't hate her in the her sister. You remember her from the original. Yeah. So a lot of people hate her. It seems to be weirdly tied to her swearing, which always feels, when a show swears too much, it's actually a hallmark of like, it's one of those things that like when I read comic reviews or when I go through comics, it's a hallmark of like weird SJW tropes where they swear for no reason.
Yeah, like
it's a character trait.
Well, I thought with Deb it was always like, she's like this tough lady cop, right? So she swears because it's not ladylike.
But in this new series, she doesn't do it. There's a character that I had a real problem with. Her name is Molly Park. I felt bad.
Molly Park. That was the podcast lady, right?
Yeah,
that was the worst character.
Who's like, it's Mary effing Kills or something.
Mary effing Kills. That was the worst character in the new series. The second
she made me have like an aneurysm because every other word was fucking, and I'm like, is that necessary?
So I think this is a trope. I think it's
in her podcast voice.
Maybe an indication of a poor development among the writers. I don't want to check them too much, but like, I think when you have like a badass lady character, they always make her swear, and I think that's actually not a sign of toughness. I also think it makes us get tired of them very quickly.
Also, it makes you look unintelligent because you don't know how to use other words.
When I first saw Dexter the original and Deb was there, I thought she was sort of one of the weaker actors in the show. And I have a friend who has this theory that when you're casting TV shows, you have some strong actors. Like the guy who plays Dexter is great.
Oh yeah, Michael C. Hall. And
fantastic.
That's Jennifer Carpenter, who came into her own later on, didn't quite get the roles, but she was in maybe one of the biggest losses for television. Did any of you see the movie Limitless?
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
They made a television version of Limitless that was only one season long and it got canceled. And to this day, I still think about it sometimes. It was one of the biggest lost opportunities that it didn't make it to season 2. It even had Bradley Cooper guest star in a couple of the episodes, but it was so good. And she was the head FBI agent along with this another actor from Covert Affairs. I can never remember his name. It was so good, and she was so good in that. But Michael C. Hall is such a good actor, and everyone in that cast of the original show, the guy who plays Dokes.
Okay, so my friend's theory is that when they're making a choice to cast him, like they probably cast Dexter first, and they're like, this guy's strong. But my friend's theory is that they intentionally cast some weaker actors because it makes them sort of lovable. Like, even though they're not that good, you kind of want them to work out anyways because they're not like intimidating maybe to the viewer. And in some ways, like it's to reinforce the illusion of the show or the contrast between characters.
It's one of the hardest things about
that is not to say she's a terrible actress. It's just at that time.
She one of the things that's hardest about when you watch a lot of TV is I'll watch episodes with guest stars and I know right away who's important because I know all the actors. So if it's an important actor, they're not going to spend the money that it costs to get that dude for 7 days of filming unless they're going to give him a pivotal role because they can get the most out of him.
Yeah.
In that show, in fact, I've got one of the complaints I have, and we'll keep it on New Blood here, is that I think that the Clancy Brown is freaking, it's the guy who played Kurt Caldwell, is incredible. As an actor, that guy, he's like 6 gazillion feet tall. That guy is really intimidating.
No, he's not, but I love that idea.
He's very
Does he have
tall.
a son?
He's a very big voice actor. He has a very distinct vocal pattern, right? The casting of Angela Bishop was bleh. Like that actress.
But I would contend that maybe some of this is to like, you have these heavy hitters, they're powerful performance that instead of trying to get someone who can compete on level, they're like, F it, we'll just have someone who's not particularly good and hope they evoke an emotional response from the audience.
That is fine.
I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's just a throw around a theory.
That is fine when they're doing the hokey girlfriend bit when she's like dating Dexter, but when she has to start putting together the pieces that he's who he is, it just comes off as meh.
There's certain parts that made me very annoyed with her.
There was a huge missed opportunity to not turn Logan into a bad guy because it seemed like a red herring, right? I'm like, he was too much of a good guy, Greg.
Which
the whole
one's
series.
Logan?
He's the deputy Logan. He's the one. He's like you gotta. He's like always
The
giving
black
good.
cop.
He's like always giving good advice. He's like
Again, because I was the last 2 episodes, I don't think I saw him.
Yep.
He was in the last episode because he died because Dexter basically knocked him out and like
he
basically
broke his neck against the police
Maybe I
against the
didn't see
jail
last
cell.
episode.
So the fact that they didn't turn him into a bad guy, it felt like that's what they were telegraphing. One thing they did do very well was that Dexter overestimated Harrison's
Wait, so Dexter has killed 2 black police officers?
Yes, he has.
Wait, he did?
Because he kills Dokes in the
kills
first
Dokes
season.
in the
My
first.
bad.
In the first,
Wait
in the
a
first
minute
series.
here. That's a political statement.
I'm just saying.
It's just out there. I'm just going to put it on the table.
He only killed 2. It's fine.
But the other thing that sucks about the Molly Park character is Jamie Chung is a fantastic actress, and that character was just so freaking annoying.
Well, she's based on my favorite YouTuber / mukbanger. She also has a famous podcast, Stephanie Sue. So she does the same thing where she talks about murder mysteries, and she's based on that.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, but she started her whole career eating on camera, and then she
YouTube
started.
is such a weird place.
I know, but like for me, like I kind of like identify with her because she started her career at 22, and now so like she's actually 1 year older than me, so I feel like I'm kind of following her footsteps.
There you go.
But do you have to start an eating channel now?
No, I started this, so I'm one step ahead of her.
It was also weird how like everyone just kind of accepted that Jim has a kid, and they acted like he'd had him forever. They're like, you know what it's like being a dad. I'm like, he's been here for like a week.
Yeah.
I came in around the Christmas episodes, and so someone had to explain to me, like, you know, this is about how he has a son.
Yeah.
And then also like, oh, but then he was being raised by someone else. Like, never made sense to me. And then it seemed like there in the episode, he's like, come with me to my girlfriend at his daughter's house, who you apparently also have a relationship. Like, he fell in so quickly, and no one was like,
it was the most unrealistic
why are
aspect
you
of
an
it.
absentee father?
Yeah. So, and everyone's like, oh, you know what it's like being a dad. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He's been a dad for like a week and a half.
Yeah, which
But I
doesn't
guess
make sense.
He was sort of a step parent to Harrison's mom's other kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did those other kids go?
They died.
They died.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Harrison's I think Harrison's the only one that survived.
What?
Or no, it wouldn't even matter anyways because Harrison's the only one that's his actual biological son.
So-
Yeah, right. But like their
I remember
dad,
nothing
didn't
about season 8.
Dexter killed their dad. Then their mom dies.
Yeah.
So these other 2 kids who are having a super disruptive life just disappear. Also,
Yeah.
wouldn't he have been placed like with his siblings? They weren't that much older than him.
No, but the whole story is that he was placed in foster care. So his stepmom. I don't understand.
Because he went over to Europe.
Yeah.
For like
What?
for like a bunch of years, and then when he came back,
Why?
after
Why did he go to Europe for witness protection or something?
No. But when he comes back, but he underestimates Harrison's dark passenger, as he calls it. Like the kid stabs Ethan or whatever the kid's name at the school event. He slashes that kid, and he breaks a kid's arm, and he's like, must mean he's a serial killer. So like the way it's done dramatically, you buy it because the kid always looks angry. But then once you realize,
maybe it's because he's like in foster care and like his dad's around but doesn't live with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you see the progression of violence, it feels completely plausible. But then when the kid turns back and he's like, I can't be you, you're like, oh yeah, the dad totally, like, Dexter totally jumped the gun on this, thinking that this kid's going to be able to just chop up bodies.
Yeah.
And dispose
because
of
that
them.
one scene where he chops off the
Kurt's,
arms of Kurt,
And then he has to go. I saw that when he has to go up.
He has to go out because like it flashes back when he was a baby and he saw like the blood come down out at the
holding a
bathtub.
very intense face.
Yeah.
Also, the scene where Kurt killed Angela's mom never mattered. Nothing ever came of it because she arrested him, but he got out. And then it's not like she got to exact any. She was never put into a position where she could have exacted revenge on the guy who killed her mom. Or not her mom, her friend. Her friend. So she never got
Iris.
to that. That never came back into play. It was just kind of thrown in there.
It was kind of dumb because they did find DNA evidence because like the tooth had his skin, and they're like,
It's my dad.
Then he lies and said, it's my dad. And I'm like, you can't lie DNA when it's exactly like yours.
No, because it was burnt. They said it was only a 66% chance it was a match.
And that would be how much son and father have, right?
Yes. So he did have a legal means out of it. But
wait,
it was...
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was saying, overall, like, what are the biggest pros of the show and what are the biggest cons? Because now I'm trying to decide if I should actually start from the beginning and watch the whole thing.
The biggest pro for...
Well, okay, the first episode made me very frustrated because Dexter is trying to escape from his past. But then when he sees the white deer and then Kurt's son, Matt, kills the deer, he, like, flips out and breaks the guy's nose and knocks him out. And then he's like, too many witnesses, let me kill him. Like,
I thought
for no
he killed
reason.
that guy because he, like, found out he
says
crashed
that
a
later.
boat.
He killed the deer, and that's pretty much why he did it. But he can't... At this point, he's attacked him. He can't let him go. And he justifies it by saying he killed 5 people on a boat.
That's what he says later on, but there's no evidence for it.
That's just a yeah, he didn't.
Oh,
he
so he's
didn't
like
follow
kind of
the
broken
code.
his code.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's broken the code. So I mean, it's but that comes into play later because his breaking of the code is what causes Harrison. Jack is his real name,
Yeah.
which causes Harrison to kill his dad.
Yeah. Well, because Dexter told him.
Because he killed Logan. And Logan didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, that's why Dexter said, you have to kill me, because like Harrison kind of jot this thought. He said, I wouldn't be like this. You wouldn't kill innocent people. Basically, this is your fault. And like Dexter's like, you're right. You have to kill me.
The ending was bad.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was rushed.
It was perfectly paced up until like the last 13 minutes, and then you get this long, drawn out scene of them when Harrison kills his dad and Angela lets him go. That just felt like they hit a wall and they didn't know what the hell to do. Like it could have been paced so much differently, but there was.
Do you think they're worried they're not going to get renewed for a second season? So they need to have one of these endings that's like, if we renew it, here's where we'll pick up from. But if not, here's a like series finale.
They said that because of the weather, that death scene was filmed like within the first 2 weeks of shooting the new series because they have to film out of order due to weather.
So they always knew it was going to end that way?
They always knew it was going to end that way. Michael, I'm guessing that we're going to talk about it later with Justified. When you play a character that iconic, your whole career after that is them people saying, so when are you going to play this character again?
Yeah, it's the same thing like Jon Snow, the actor. Like he felt kind of like
typecast.
Yeah.
People think that like it's not hard to believe that he would want to do the role and die just so he doesn't have to play the character again.
Yeah, and it gives people like a resolution, like instead of wondering where he is.
Not a good resolution, but also whatever happened to climate change guy who was beefing with Angela's daughter?
I don't know.
I will say that they did do a fairly good job of keeping it mostly apolitical. They had climate change activism, which was kind of lame at first, but then they also introduced aspects of the opioid crisis, which is an alternate perspective on small town, and it wasn't presented in a bad way.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
To me, it didn't really feel like you felt like you were in this environment. And one thing it did do, almost to its detriment in a way, is that it imbued a sense of the community, meaning that you felt like you were in small town upstate New York where they were, right? The environment played a huge role in it, just as Miami played an insanely important role to the atmosphere and the vibe of the original show.
Right.
Like seeing the snow, though different from the other one, kept you engaged in what you're watching. And I have a hypothesis that's why I was able to watch it so quickly, because usually I have a hard time staying focused when I'm watching stuff like this. I don't feel like the writing was mega top level in those first few episodes. So the only thing that really kept me engaged was looking at the backdrop of this environment, and it felt lived in.
Yeah.
You felt like you were in this community with these people, right?
And I can imagine watching a character like Dexter, like how has he adapted to a completely new environment?
Yep.
I mean, one of the things that's important to his character is managing all of the things around him. And
you can say that it worked because more than anything, the actor who plays what's his name? The guy who plays Angel, the guy who plays Batiste.
Yeah.
He felt out of place in the few episodes he was in.
For sure, yeah.
Like he felt a little bit out of place, even though small like vocal cameo from the actor who played Dokes, all of that stuff, it didn't feel like the original Dexter, but not in a bad way. Whereas normally you feel kind of beholden to the previous environment when they change it, and they're going to be doing that for the Justified show as well. They're going to be changing the scenery. So I think that they handled that aspect of it well, but it almost, I don't know if it would have worked back in Miami.
Yeah. Do you ever wish that instead of having a son, Dexter had a daughter to see how that would have played out?
It would have been funnier.
I'm almost surprised that in the
for me, it would have been funnier because you know how women, like, instead of fighting with our fists, we fight psychologically by saying like backhand things a lot. So imagine that.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. A woman just admitted that.
Oh, okay.
Shh, don't tell them the secret.
Oh my god, I told them the secret. Burn this whole podcast down.
Burn it to the ground.
Okay,
but I think that you're right. How she's less prone, or we would assume she's less prone to physical violence.
No, I think she would, because like some women tend to hold their anger in. So imagine this girl, she's like, is Harrison like 15 or 16 in the show?
She's supposed to be 16.
So imagine a 16-year-old girl, like she's going through puberty, she's going through teenage angst and like drama, and like let's say she got a new boyfriend, but then she finds out she's a lesbian because they want to write it that way, and she's like having these emotions and she doesn't know how to control it, and then people make fun of her because she came out of nowhere. She's a foster kid, and like she doesn't know how to hold her anger, and then one day, wrong time, wrong place, like she stabs a kid.
Interesting.
I'm almost surprised they didn't change it to a girl. Also, there's a timeline error because Harrison was 4 when Dexter left, and it's been 10 years, so he should be 14, not 16.
Same difference.
I wonder frequently if so when I was watching the episodes, Dexter is like the dark passenger thing. He's like, I can connect with you, I can understand with you. His relationship with his own adoptive father really plays on the father-son bond and like what would you do for your children. And I think if he had a daughter, which I know would change the original series too.
They did that in Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
They did that in the Bill and Ted, the new movie.
I don't know what that is.
It's two guys that
Brett's fake.
You've never seen Bill and Ted's Excellent? Oh,
no,
man.
I've never seen it.
Okay, it's okay. At the end of the second movie, they have sons, but then when they bring Bill and Ted Face the Music back in like last year, they're magically daughters because 2021, because Whammon, because political.
I would have been interested in to clarify. I'm not asking for a transgender character. I'm asking for like if it had always been a girl, because I think that we do like understanding in what ways women are like their fathers would have been interesting. Also, like I think fathers, like the stereotype, especially, I think it's true. Men
Daddy's
feel,
little girl.
yeah, and they feel particularly protective of their daughters.
Yeah,
like
it would have made more sense if
I'm starved for stories like that in an age where the stories are more likely to be about how the dad abandons the family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that like him, he was like in some ways it felt to me, and again I didn't see the whole all of New Blood, but it felt like he was like trying to weigh up whether or not to bring his son into the family business.
Yeah,
so to
basically.
speak. But like with a daughter, would she have been prone to it? What if she was more interested in it than a son would have been? What if she was less interested?
You remember the statistics about serial killers and like people who are most dangerous in the U.S.? It's mainly women because women know how to lie. I see that face. Women know how to like basically weasel their way into your lives.
Yeah.
And
domestic violence is high among
women,
lesbian couples.
Yeah, exactly.
Female couples have experienced a high rate of domestic violence, and in some ways, I would argue that's because we always tell boys you can't hit women. Don't even though.
But they never tell the girls that.
But they don't tell girls that.
No, they never tell girls that.
In some ways, because she's dominated by her hormones and her emotions, maybe she would have been harder for Dexter to relate to, or how would he have adapted the codes for a girl who reacts?
Okay, let's rewrite the whole series.
Oddly enough, Deb seemed to be the voice of reason here.
Kind of. There's certain parts where
she said, "Yeah, sure, Harry taught you the code, but that was effed up." You could have been institutionalized. They could have put you on medication. They could have done a million other things before just letting you kill bad people.
Yeah, but would those things have consequences as well? Yeah. I'm sorry to be like, I know you're reviewing this, but what if we made it completely different?
Let's rewrite the whole script. So imagine it's a girl.
I'm just surprised they didn't, given the political climate we live in these days.
No,
needs more women.
Well, for me, I feel like it would have been more interesting if it was a girl, because you remember Dexter was trying to protect Harrison from Kurt. So it would have made more sense if Harrison instead was a girl. And
I don't think that makes a difference. It's still your kid.
I know, but imagine, because Kurt, he has a pattern when he's killing. It's all women. It's all women.
She would have been like a foster care runaway.
Imagine that.
That could be really
He's going to kill the kid anyways.
I know, but still, it would have made the story correlate, because why is he killing a boy other than revenge, eye for eye?
You would have taken out the revenge and your sons kill my sons kind of thing.
I don't think it would have been a good idea to change it.
I think if it had been a girl, the second season would have been. They could have had a second season where Dexter doesn't die.
Yeah,
and they explore the dynamic between what's inherited in a way that you. With Harrison, it seems like you're inheriting the family business. With Dexter, it would have been evolving to adapt the code for another scenario.
Yeah, but for me, the reason why I think it would be better to have a girl character instead, it's because how much of the genetics and personality do you get from your dad? Because I know, for your baldness, you get it some from your dad and your grandparents. And
I always hear baldness is I don't know if this is really true, but from your mother's father. Yeah. And I think if they had a female character, maybe she would have looked just like whatever her name is, who Dexter is with, Harrison's mom. But what if she looks like her but has
Dexter's personality,
has the dark passenger? That would have been, to me, not that the Harrison character is, in my opinion, bad, just it would have been another layer of complexity.
I felt like he was forced on, but for me, I feel like it would have been more interesting as a female character, not because of PC culture. I just think it would be a better storyline, because
I think it would have given them more to work with.
Exactly, because this show is about basically trying to hide a murderer within the whole community. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So imagine it as a female. Females are known to have this stereotype where they're soft, gentle, they'll never harm a hair on anybody, and then all of a sudden she has the dark passenger that Dexter has.
Yeah, well, and I think too, it's the idea layer. That a father sees himself in his son, I think it would have been interesting for him to see.
This would have been very difficult. This would have been very difficult for them to do if they're going to actually turn her into that, because the way women lure men to kill them would have been sexually related, because that's how you're going to surprise somebody who's twice your size. And doing that with a 16-year-old girl
that's kind of raising red flags.
I don't think they would have wanted to put that to screen right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
I also think that the moment you tell everyone that Dexter has a daughter now and not a son, I think you're going to get immediate backlash. One, because you're changing the story. Two,
I don't think you should.
People will feel the political, whether it's there or not, whether it was for that reason or not. People will feel it dripping all over the announcement, and you'll cost you viewers.
Let me be clear. When I suggest that, I would have wished it from the beginning, not from this. Yep. Don't think you would change it for New Blood. I wondered about this in the original too.
So but this is the thing. In the world we live in now, I was just excited to see a father-son story.
Yeah.
That even if it has to be about a serial killer, I'll take it, because everything seems to be about daughters taking. Whether you saw Terminator, Dark Fate, whether it all seems to be changing these gender roles and stuff like this. So maybe that story is interesting within the context of a new show.
Yeah.
I don't really have the faith that they'd be able to pull off something with
if
that.
it's too close to Dexter, I mean, no, the comparison would be impossible to get away from.
There's there's that show Women Who Kill.
Yeah.
There's also Scream Queens. Did anybody see Scream Queens?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. But it's definitely something you could have done. I do think the finale, the last 15 minutes was rushed. I do not want them to do a second season. I would like to have known what the hell happened to Frederick Lane, this oil rig guy. I don't know what the hell that was supposed to be about. It's possible a spinoff could happen, but I just don't know if I don't know. Actor.
But also,
they should have gotten Finn Wolfhard to do it.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, you know Jack, the guy that plays Harrison.
Jack Alcott.
Yeah, he's dating Taylor Swift. So run and hide.
No, man.
No, he's dating her like for a little bit.
He did?
Yeah, I searched up who she's currently dating, and I recognize that last name.
Alcott.
She's dating Joe Alwyn.
What the?
Ha ha.
Hold on.
See, this is why you're here.
We've been together for like
Keeping
I think
people
4
honest.
years. He's British. He is blonde. He's older than this kid.
I was
though.
like, that kid's like 20 years old. She's got to be like, what, in her 30s now?
She's 32.
Okay, so no
Oh,
way.
okay, you're right. My bad. Sorry, I just saw the J and I just
Disinformation coming from Pop Culture
Fact
Crisis
check.
today.
Fact check
Fact
live.
checked right on air.
But it would have
Snopes
been
says
funny.
You're full of shit.
I know, but it would have been funny if she was dating him,
It
and I'm
would
like,
be I mean, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
I want her and Jake Gyllenhaal to get back together.
oh no.
That's your
That's
real.
my controversial
that's your-
opinion.
That's your controversial opinion.
I just don't want her to date people. Stop sucking their souls
I
out.
just want her to have a kid. I feel like she'd be a fun mom.
Wine mom. She's the definition of a wine aunt.
No, but she's super creative and like, I don't know. She's like into celebrating, sentimental. I feel like that would make a cool parent.
Okay.
That would be, but
That's not what we're here to talk about, but that's my opinion.
I don't feel like she wants kids.
So
Who knows?
I do want to ask, would you give the show a recommend to people?
Yeah, if you can get over the obstacle that's called Harrison. Other than that, and also Angela, I didn't like Angela that much.
Angela, she felt very like, I just didn't buy tough cop from her, right? Give me Angelina Jolie as tough cop.
When I
Give
saw
me
her on
Viola
screen,
Davis
she
as tough
seemed,
cop.
She seemed like a what's the term that I'm looking for here? I can't even think of it, but like she's like, well, we have to cast a girl,
Yeah.
and she's a minority. Like,
Yeah, and plus it's like it just feels like all those their characters are they're always with guys they call them good guy Gregs. They've got no flaws. They're perfect. They treat everybody well.
it makes a character less relatable.
The only thing she did that was mildly interesting in that respect was her like abusing police power to like have sex with Dexter on like at that point I'm like, oh cool, she's gonna be an interesting character, and then after that it was just bleh.
So much corruption in this police force.
I did read you that quote from her that the other week where I told you about how she's like I grew up in like the Bronx and like we didn't really see race as anything that mattered, and I didn't realize that it mattered to not be white until I got to Los Angeles, thus proving that the people in LA are the actual racists. So
Excuse me, they're anti-racist?
Yes. So for her, I feel like the show didn't give her much to work with. Like the chemistry with the daughter was okay, but not anything to write home about. I didn't feel any deep connection from the two of them. Seemed like
I saw very little of it, but it seemed like they were like, look how close they are.
Yeah, it feels forced. The daughter looks just like an actress named Madeleine Carroll. Like almost exactly like her. So it's like there's got to be like a trope in Hollywood, like you like all these girls, because then there's another actress that looks just like Madeleine Carroll that they get mixed up with. So now there's three of them, and it's like a Disney factory line.
It's so kind of like how you remember when what's his name? Oh my god, it's like Michael. We were talking about him last time.
About what?
We were talking about how Scott Pilgrim is going to have an anime series.
Oh, yeah.
What's the guy's name? The actor? Michael what?
Oh, Michael Cera.
Michael Cera. He kind of looks like the other actors. And then Margot Robbie looks like other characters, other actors
There's like
too.
types.
Look at Michael Cera, and then look at the guy who plays Teddy, David Madigoff. On there looks just like Michael Cera.
Yeah, kind of. Which kind of like freaks me out how they can find clones of people.
Yep.
They're discounts. You know, they pay that one, play less.
I would have loved to have been a casting director to just be sent out there to find people that look like other people.
I mean, there is at least 50 other people of different races that look like you in the world.
Yep.
I want to like see that. I want someone to put my face in like a thing where it's like other people who look like me.
Yeah, because whoever did the simulation theory got lazy.
So for me, it is a recommend. A lot of times when you see shows like this and they come back, people tend to go very like one way or the other. Like it's either the greatest thing ever, or they think why they should have never done this. This is a horrible idea. I think in concept it was excellent. I think in execution it was average. And in an age where any type of good television is hard to come by, especially if you're constantly looking to find escapist entertainment, meaning that it takes you out of the world you live in.
Right.
They did a very good job of, for the most part, keeping that out of this show. I think if you like the original Dexter, I don't think the finale will give you I don't think it's going to give you the satisfaction you were hoping for to make up for that awful finale from season 8.
Okay.
But I do think that it's a worthwhile time investment for 10 episodes. So, yes. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.